Dear viewers, welcome to my channel. This is Mama Shodil Islam. Today I shall discuss regarding the definition of repo and tenor of repo. When any bank or financial institutions of a country fall in financial problem for short-term period, then it's just borrow money from central bank. And short-term borrowing from central bank is called the repo. Dear viewers, when any individuals or any businessman falls in financial problem, then it's go to a bank and apply for a loan. After getting the loan from the bank or financial institutions, these individuals or businessmen meet up their financial problem. When any bank or financial institutions fall in financial problem, then it's go to central bank for borrowing. Because central bank is the last source of borrowing for any bank or financial institutions of any country. Say for example, when any bank of USA fall in financial problem, then it's go to Federal Reserve Systems of USA. When any bank or financial institutions of England falls in financial problem, then it's go to the Bank of England. In such way, any Bank of India, then it's go to RBI. Any Bank of Bangladesh, then it's go to Bangladesh Bank, because those banks are the central banks of this respective country. And the central banks of any country give different types of loan to the bank or financial institutions to meet up their financial needs. To meet up the short-term financial needs of any bank or any financial institutions, central bank gave a short-term loan by the area of repo. So repo is the dealing by which a bank or financial institutions just get a short-term loan by selling their government securities such as treasury bill or bond to the central bank, and this thing is called the repo. Here in the repo process, the treasury bond or bill that is acted by the central bank as a means of purchasing from bank or financial institutions, this tradable government securities is a collateral of this short-term loan to the central banks. In the repo system, there is an agreement between the bank and the central banks, and there is stated bank or financial institutions now get a loan by selling their treasury bond or bill to the central banks, and the maturity they will repay this loan by purchasing those treasury bond or bill from the central bank. Repo is the financial systems from the viewpoint of central banks by which central banks supply cash or inject cash in the economic systems, or just provide the financial assistance to the bank or financial institutions when they need, and thus these bank or financial institutions meet up their financial needs. From the viewpoint of central banks, we can define the repo in such a way. Repo is the financial systems by which central banks supply money or inject cash to the economy by giving a short-term loan to the bank or financial institutions by purchasing government tradable securities such as treasury bill or bond from those bank or financial institutions. When central bank give loan to them, then central bank just impose a applicable charge or predetermined charge on this short-term lending to the bank or financial institutions, and this charge is basically known as repo rate. Dear viewers, if you want to say the repo rate, or if you want to define what is the repo rate, then we can say repo rate is the rate by which central bank just lend money to the bank or financial institutions by purchasing their treasury bond or bill, or at the time of the financial shortage or liquidity crisis in the money market. From the viewpoint of the bank or financial institutions, repo rate is the rate by which the bank or financial institutions get short-term loan by selling their treasury bond or bill to the central banks, and this rate is called the repo rate. Repo rate is the great expense for those bank or financial institutions that borrow fund from central banks, and from the viewpoint of central banks, repo rate is the great source of revenue, and it's the interest income from the viewpoint of central bank. Dear viewers, there's some sorts of revenue earning by any central bank of any country. Repo rate is the major source, one of them. Dear viewers, we know repo is the short-term loan. It's the very short-term loan for commercial bank or any bank or financial institutions of any country. What is the actual tenor or period of a repo? From the borrowing date to the maturity date, this period is called the tenor of an instrument or tenor of repo. There are four types of tenor of repo basically used in the repo market. Most of the repo of the world is occur for overnight. The overnight means one night later. That means past of one night. When any bank or financial institutions takes a loan today, it has to pay or next day. That means it has to pay or refund this loan or tomorrow, and that is called the overnight. And it's most of the repo case on this tenor, that is the overnight. And on another date is the another tenor of repo is for 7 days. It may occur for 14 days, and another tenor of repo is 28. Dear viewers, maximum period of repo is 28 days. Dear viewers, though these four types of tenor of the repo is most popular and popularly used in the repo market or by central banks of the world, sometimes another types of tenor of repo is used by some central banks in special case, and that is not fixed. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 or 1 years, and they are totally depend on the requirement of the central. When any central banks of any country thinks that they need to extend the tenor of the repo more than these four types of tenor of repo, then they allow these special types of repo maturity period. It's totally depend on sole judgments or their requirement of the central banks to regulate their economic system. A repo contains their maturity date that is more than 28 days. These types of repo is called the special repo. The repo that contains their maturity period or tenor more than 28 days, that is very rare, but it is used by some central banks for their regulations or control. So dear viewers, if you think that this video is beneficial to you, please like my videos and subscribe for getting more videos. Dear viewers, I invite you to watch my next video related to the repo or bank informations. So no more today. Bye bye.